there, KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart here as the high heat continues to build here across the Pacific Northwest, and specifically for the I-5 corridor. That's where we could potentially see some of the hottest temperatures we have felt so far this summer season. We're talking maybe our first round of triple-digit heat, a very real possibility as we start to work our way through the next several days or so, as the high heat is expected to take us all the way into the weekend before we start to get a bit of a weather pattern shakeup. But we've gone ahead and issued a KOIN 6 weather alert. That went into place earlier today as the potentially high and dangerous heat continued to build here across our area. We're talking about afternoon highs already felt today in the low to mid-90s for many of us, at least across the Portland, Vancouver metro area. Again, tomorrow, reaching up into the low 90s all the way into the triple digits, and very little relief from the heat is expected as we work our way through the rest of the overnight hours tonight, and then that will carry into tomorrow morning, where maybe some of us won't even be falling below the 70-degree mark. So the high heat is going to be sticking with us not only tonight, but as we work our way into tomorrow, where the peak of the heat is expected to be felt, at least in the Portland, Vancouver metro area. Overall, thank you for joining us here for this special message as we are really trying to prepare everybody for the excessive heat to once again return to the Pacific Northwest. Yes, I know it's summertime. Yes, it's supposed to be hot, but these are temperatures that are well above average for this time of year. We should be hovering in towards the low 80s. So that's why we're really kind of pushing this KOIN 6 weather alert. The National Weather Service out of Portland also issuing a weather, or I should say a heat advisory that is in place all the way through 10 o'clock tomorrow night, just in preparation for these extreme temperatures to once again return to our area. So that's why we're really kind of pushing and letting everybody know exactly that this heat is here, and it is here to stay, at least for the next 24 hours. A live look out over downtown Portland as we are baking in the summer sun right now. Many of us across the Portland, Vancouver metro area still hovering in towards the low 90s, even within the 7 o'clock hour. A few of us were talking about Tigard, Wilsonville, West Lynn, all kind of falling back into those mid-80s, which is still above average for this time of year. Forest Grove at 90 and Troutdale also at 90 degrees, just the same with Battleground and Vancouver. So overall, the hot, high temperatures, they are here and they are here to stay, not only for the metro area, but even the state capital. 90 degrees right now, still holding steady in the low to mid 70s for us out along the shoreline. So the high heat even felt as far west as the shoreline, when our temperatures usually are hovering in towards the 60s. But we do get kind of that break from the kind of rinse and repeat scenario that we typically see along the Oregon coast, and find ourselves back up into the 70s a few times over the stint of the summer season. But overall, these hot temperatures, they are slowly going to be fading as we work our way through the rest of this evening. But this warming trend that we're experiencing here in the West, and you can see those warmer colors right here, that's where we're picking up on temperatures over the past 24 hours, stretching anywhere from 10 to 15 to almost 20 degrees in many locations, all because of our wind transition, which does not bode well for the fire concern east of the Cascades. So over central Oregon, the Cram fire almost doubling in size overnight, because we did see a nice onshore flow. And I'm just going to kind of pull up the winds for us briefly here, because this really kind of plays in to why we're seeing those fires explode, why we're seeing the hot temperatures build over the western half of the state of Oregon and southwest Washington. That's where, sorry about that, our computer's freezing up here. Really kind of just seeing those hot temperatures all because of the wind direction change. So we're getting a little bit more of that northwesterly breeze over the mountains. So that transitions into a downsloping event for us here in the I-5 corridor. That's where the winds go from higher elevations to the lower elevations. And as they do that, they condense, they warm up, they speed up, and they dry out. So also, in turn, kind of increasing our fire threat, but also warming our temperatures here through the I-5 corridor. But you may remember yesterday we had a nice onshore flow, helping to drop our temperatures here in the Portland, Vancouver area. Much of the Willamette Valley only getting up into the low 80s in many cases. So that was driving the fire to the east. Now with that northwesterly breeze, the wind has almost, or the fire itself, has almost transitioned to a 180. So that's why we saw it explosively kind of move into a new drier terrain, as fire crews were likely trying to battle one side of the fire. It then started to run the other direction. So that's why we saw that explosive fire concern out towards the Cram fire, again, out towards the central sections of the state of Oregon. Also helping to warm things up. Salem already seeing those northerly, northeasterly winds overall. at about a gust right now at 17 miles per hour. As far as the heat goes, though, we are no stranger to those high temperatures. We have already felt our fair share of the summer heat. A total of 8 days in the 90s plus 90 degrees. On average, we see about 15 of those days, but we have yet to touch the triple digits, at least here in Portland. Some of us out towards these, we've already seen our fair share of the 100-degree heat as well. But on average, in the summer season, Portland typically sees just about 1 day in the triple digits, although it feels like in the past couple of years, we've been well above that. You might recall 2021 when we saw 3 consecutive days in the month of June climb up to the all-time record of 116 degrees, the highest temperature ever recorded in Portland. But again, 0 days so far this summer season that we have touched the triple digits, and we might be nearing the corner of where we could add a tally mark into that bank, all while the number of rain-free days continue to pile up. A grand total of 18 for us here in the Rose City. Our rain deficit growing to over 3/10 of an inch, last picking up just 1/100th of an inch back on June 27th of last month. Unfortunately, no rain is in sight for us here across the Pacific Northwest, as our temperatures right now are sitting in the low 90s. That's where we expect to hold on to those clear conditions through the remainder of the night. But I had mentioned the National Weather Service issuing that heat advisory. That's where we could climb up to about 92 degrees to 100 degrees. That was issued earlier today, right around lunchtime or so. It's going to extend all the way through 10 o'clock tomorrow night. So we still have the potential for this high heat once again, moving our way into Wednesday afternoon and evening, a very real potential. And overall, that means that your risk, if you're doing strenuous activity outdoors during the peak heat hours of the day, that's going to be increasing that heat-related illness potential. So extreme caution needs to be used. Now, although it's going to be extremely hot, not likely to break any records. You'll notice back in 1979, for both, or all three, I should say, Portland, Salem, Astoria, seeing those temperatures into the triple digits, upper 80s for the coast. Now, our top row, that's our forecasted afternoon highs. Expected to see those temperatures flirt with the triple digits out towards the central Willamette Valley, the state capital, Salem, at 99 degrees. So we are expected to get well above that average of 82, but not necessarily record-breaking when it comes down to the numbers. But Portland itself, maybe even Salem itself, potentially warming slightly greater than what we're forecasting. That is because of something that is called the urban heat island effect. Keep in mind, you have all of those buildings, the concrete, the asphalts, the cars, everything's soaking up that summer sunshine and heat, and it really kind of traps it near the surface. So that means urban areas have the potential to feel a lot hotter than what is forecasted, as opposed to, say, the outskirts. We're talking maybe wine country, only getting up into the low to mid-90s. So just kind of take these numbers with a grain of salt. We'll be well above this tomorrow. But it just kind of shows you that the heart of those city locations have the potential to see the highest temperatures as we work our way into Wednesday. So once you get more trees, grass in the mix, that's where those temperatures are expected to be likely on the cooler side for us. But again, it's the heart of the city. We could touch the triple-digit numbers. But our official numbers, they always come out of the airport where it is a little bit more grassy. We have some water as well with the Columbia River. So just kind of keep all of that in mind. Depending on where your location is, maybe even where your own thermometer in your backyard is located, could really determine where your temperature is going to be sitting. Overall, though, the afternoon highs climbing up well above 90 degrees in many cases, and that means extreme danger for the back seat of your car. Always maybe just take a second glance, making sure that the kiddos aren't in the back seat, your four-legged friends aren't, the elderly, or really anybody should be in the vehicle. Even if you say, I'm going to leave the car running, I'm just going to be stepping away for a few moments. It takes 10 minutes for the interior of your vehicle to skyrocket to almost 110 degrees when it's only 90 degrees outside. So these temperatures could potentially be devastating and deadly. So take a double check in the back seat as we move our way into the peak of the heat. If you are going to be out and about, make sure that you are staying hydrated, reducing the amount of strenuous activity that you are doing in the peak heat hours of the day. That's really right around lunchtime or so, all the way to 6, 7 o'clock in the evening for us here in the Pacific Northwest. Wearing the light-colored, loose-fitting clothing is also going to be a must, and taking frequent breaks inside or in the AC, maybe finding a mall, a grocery store, the public library, all going to be a good idea to maybe keep in the back of your mind if you need to find some location that has AC, if you're not lucky enough at home to actually have that. Now, those easterly winds, Those are going to be the driving heat factor for us tomorrow. Again, the fire potential pushing everything to the west. That is, if you're through the central regions of the Cascades dealing with the wildfires. For us here in the I-5 corridor, it means hot temperatures. As we move our way into Wednesday afternoon, evening, maybe a few high thin cirrus clouds. That's not going to stop us from warming up rapidly. Then we start to play with that marine layer along the shoreline. We stay dry, calm, quiet, clear for the valley. As we push our way into Thursday morning, that marine layer is slowly breaking down along the coast, so that's where temperatures will significantly drop. But then we start to get that onshore flow Thursday afternoon. Still going to be hot, well above average, upper 80s, low 90s, still a possibility for Portland, Vancouver, Salem, the Willamette Valley as a whole before we start to cool things back. All right, tonight's temperature falling back into the mid-60s. That's a generous number because I think some of us are really going to still be hovering right around 70 degrees in many cases. Again, it's all of that heat that we've locked into the asphalt, the cement, the buildings, the cars, that's going to make this cooling trend extremely slow. For tomorrow, hey, maybe a nice sweet cold treat is going to be the thing that keeps you cool. Eat it fast, though, because temperatures are going to be climbing up into the upper 90s. I'm calling for 98 degrees for us right here in the heart of the city, but that is where we expect to see those high, hot temperatures once again. If you live out along the coastline, temperature's still going to be hot for you. Starting the day off with a few clouds, that quickly mixes out. Sunshine returns, highs approaching 80 degrees anywhere from Tillamook to Seaside out towards Astoria. Again, not record-breaking, but well above the average. And that's where we turn our attention to the I-5 corridor, picking up on those highs in the upper 90s. I would not be surprised if a few triple digits are sprinkled in. Again, keeping that KOIN 6 weather alert in place. Summer heat, fire danger, still alive and well out towards the east. Up in elevation, the same. Government camp, 4,000 feet, still excruciatingly hot, triple digits almost for the Dalles, as our 7-day forecast again shows that one round of the high heat potential, keeping that KOIN 6 weather alert with a forecasted high of 98 degrees. Then we see temperatures cool slightly. Yeah, 91 degrees. That's a cool down, comparatively speaking, to 98 that we expect to see on Wednesday. And then we'll hold on to those sunny skies through the end of the week, still above average. But by the time we get to Portland Pride Saturday, the fun all happening along Tamacall Waterfront Park should be picture perfect with a few more clouds in the mix. For the parade, well, that maybe is where we expect to see temperatures in the 70s. Although with that increase in cloud coverage, I am anticipating it to be slightly on the muggier side for many of us. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you're planning your outfit or staying hydrated, drink plenty of water Saturday. If you're going to the parade on Sunday, as so many of us here at KOIN 6 News are going to be doing, and those temperatures sitting closer to what is typical for this time of year. Then we start to break down that cloud coverage, return a little bit more of that sunshine. Highs begin to warm again in the mid-80s. And kind of looking past our 7-day forecast, we could be getting back up into the mid to upper 80s as we move our way into the middle and end of next week. But overall, we just got to get through our Wednesday before we really start to cool things down. That is going to be the break from the extreme heat force here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, you can get the latest weather updates always by downloading the PDX Weather app that's produced by us here at KOIN. You can also head over to KOIN.com where the latest weather, news, and sports updates, because, hey, the Portland fire now back in the mix officially. You can get all the latest information there on our website or our KOIN News app. And, of course, we'll get the latest updates for you on KOIN Plus, our new streaming service, and also over at the Portland CW, starting at 10 o'clock for The 10 with Anthony Costura and myself, and then also at KOIN 6 News tonight at 11 o'clock on CBS. We'll catch you there. Stay cool, everybody.